This is 5 on your side at 6. Focused on you.
First tonight, we are in a weather alert. Rain and snow moving into the region. Temperatures in the 30s. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. This is one of those forecasts you really need to pay attention to, so let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell. Scott?
You know, a lot of things changing across the region as we head through this evening, and this is the first wave of this system. Tomorrow we'll have another round of moisture, and that means some rain showers tomorrow and then into some snow tomorrow evening and a lot more wind tomorrow, although the winds are pretty gusty out there right now. So here's the thing. Temperatures a little warmer than what we had on Friday evening. Temperatures are still right now well into the 30s around St. Louis. Even so, we're mixing with rain and snow around the metro area. More of that wet snow going west and slushy accumulations, maybe a couple of 3 inches here up into Lincoln and Pike counties. Also, southwest of St. Louis, down 44. We've been looking towards Cuba, which now we've started to see the changeover to mostly rain down towards Rolla. Around the metro, rain and snow mixing in. Got a visual on it here. If you look closely down in Arnold, you can see a few flakes in the foreground. So roads are in just wet condition here around the St. Louis area at this point. Now, the snowfall tallies here as we head through just this evening, this part of the storm, most concentrated north and west of St. Louis with that 1 to 3 inches. Metro area is not going to get an inch out of this storm. And then as we go into late tonight, it warms enough where it all goes over to rain. Even the areas that see that 1 to 3 inches north of St. Louis. Some morning rain showers tomorrow, then we'll get some afternoon snow, windy. More on that in a few minutes, Mike.
All right, Scott, and the 5 on your side storm tracker has been on the road all afternoon. Let's take a live look now. They're headed south on 61 from Troy. We showed you this at 5 o'clock, and it looked like all rain. We do know the roads are slick, but now you can see it looks like sleet or snow coming down. Both MoDOT and IDOT are monitoring the roads and will dispatch crews as needed. You can get the Weather First forecast sent to your phone. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. You can also catch our local newscasts and weather forecasts anytime on the 5+ streaming app. Just download the free app on your Fire TV, Apple TV, or Roku. Just search KSDK in your app store.
Developing tonight, a federal agency wants to put new signs along Coldwater Creek in North St. Louis County. They would warn residents about possible radioactive waste. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer joins us in studio with more on the planned signage in Florissant. Diamond.
Well, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in St. Louis says the purpose of the new signs are to, quote, help inform the community and let them know where to go for accurate information, along with resources for anyone that wants to dig in the area. But some believe the signs don't go far enough.
I think it's a very good idea.
Andy Quinones with the City of Florissant's Government Affairs says new proposed signage along Coldwater Creek will be what the city needs.
These informational signs that the Army Corps of Engineers wants to put out only helps educate the community. We believe in being very transparent.
Meanwhile, Kristen Camuso with the Missouri Coalition for the Environment says it's something that needed to happen years ago.
Unfortunately, we don't believe that these signs will have the impact that is needed or desired. They're very wordy, kind of bland in nature. I can't imagine any child stopping along the creek and reading this long sign before getting into it.
Camuso says she'd like to see the signs a brighter color and want the Army Corps to consider a permanent barrier like a fence. According to the Army Corps, they've already removed hundreds of truckloads of contaminated soil, which will be shipped to U.S. Ecology in Idaho and disposed. The waste was left over from the effort to build the first atomic bomb during World War II. Camuso says she'll continue to advocate for more transparency from the federal agency, as well as encouraging more residents to voice their opinions.
It's baffling to us why something as simple as putting a warning sign out has taken this long.
Now, residents in North County interested in learning more or have questions about the radioactive waste at Coldwater Creek and as well as the St. Louis Airport can attend the next EPA community meeting next Tuesday at the Hazelwood Civic Center East from 2 to 3:30 p.m. and 7 to 8:30 p.m.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft says he plans to put the U.S. Supreme Court on notice. If the High Court allows Colorado and Maine to disqualify President Trump from the ballot for insurrection, he could remove President Biden from the Missouri ballot for his immigration policies. Ashcroft sat down one-on-one with our political editor Mark Maxwell is here with more of that interview. Mark?
Yeah, Mike, parts of that interview were contradictory. On one hand, Jay Ashcroft says secretaries of state should be condemned for taking this action. On the other, he says he's prepared to do it himself if the court finds President Trump engaged in insurrection. If you follow through on this threat and boot President Biden from the ballot, would you be doing so because the Constitution compels you or in pursuit of some political payback?
No, if I do anything with regard to my official offices, it's because of what the law says. And what I have said in that tweet is that what Maine and Colorado did was terrible. It, I believe, is not following the law, and that the Supreme Court needs to come in quickly and stop that from happening.
You've already applied this same thing to President Biden. You've already said he's potentially committed an act of insurrection because he's, quote, in your words, let an invasion unstopped into our country from the border. So you're already applying the same standard to President Biden.
What I have said is that individuals have said that what President Biden has done at the border is rebellion or insurrection. I have made no final determination. I think that what was done in Colorado and what was done in Maine was wrong. I do not think secretaries of state should make these decisions.
You're sort of making the argument right now that two wrongs make a right. It's like saying, well, the other side is
wrong.
Let me just
right
finish the
now.
question. You're saying
It's
if the
not
other side,
wrong
if I can finish the
Supreme
question.
Court says it's the rule of the land.
It sounds to me like you're saying if the other side rips the Constitution halfway, well, you have no choice. You don't want to do it, but you're going to pick up the Constitution and rip the rest of the page.
That would be true if I said I'm doing it right now. What I said was we need the Supreme Court to step in and stop this.
Do you agree right now that President Biden has committed an act of insurrection by lax policy at the border?
I believe that under the law, as I understand it right now, that is not a determination for me to make. And I don't want to make that determination, but that is up to the United States Supreme Court to make sure that everyone plays by the same rules.
Ashcroft's argument really comes down to timing here. The Senate initially said it didn't have enough time to try Trump and convict him on those impeachment charges. Now the criminal courts may be running out of time to put Trump on trial and convict him before the next election. That whole exchange with Secretary of State Ashcroft is up on our website under the Politics tab.
Jay Ashcroft's comments come just hours after he was forced to come out of his house with his hands up after Jefferson City police received a call that there was a shooting at his address.
I get out there and 5-10 seconds after I'm standing out there in the bright light of my my driveway light, 4 well-armed police officers come out, and thankfully they handled it very professionally, very well, and nobody got hurt.
Turns out he was the victim of swatting. That's when someone makes a prank call to emergency services to send the SWAT team to a specific address. There's been a rise in swatting incidents at the homes of public officials, including Florida Senator Rick Scott and Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Coming up, a mystery in the Metro East. A man shot and killed at an auto parts store.
Plus, Cori Bush says the sudden closure of a North St. Louis nursing home might be against the law, and she wants the feds to investigate.